Are you thinking about buying a home, but you're really just unsure if now is the right time? What if I told you that waiting just a few short months could end up costing you higher home prices and higher mortgage payments? Right now, in Northeast Ohio, home values, they're increasing. You have interest rates completely unpredictable of what's actually going to happen. Inventory, it's shifting. So it leads to the question, should you buy now or should you wait? Well, in this video, I'm going to be explaining what is happening currently in the market and how this is going to affect you, so you have an answer to that question of should you buy now or should you wait? What's up, guys? Anthony Esposito with eXp Realty, your local real estate expert right here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And if you are questioning, should you buy right now, or if you're looking to sell, or you're relocating to the Cleveland area, I have people just like you reaching out to me every single week. I'd love to help you out as well. Contact me directly here or go in the description below. Use one of the methods I have listed there. So the big question that we are about to answer. First, I want to take a look at the current market conditions, because right now, days on market, they're up. We are approaching the 30-day on market for an average. Some areas are more, some areas are less, but the average right now in Northeast Ohio is right almost at that 30-day mark, which means that inventory is increasing, which means as a buyer, you have more to choose from. For sellers, you're gonna end up losing a little bit of that competition, but for you buyers, you have the capability of a little bit more picking and choosing of the house and the location that you want. Having said that, there's still some locations that are struggling. But like I said earlier, the home prices, they're rising. So currently right now in Cuyahoga County, we're looking at $200,400. That's up 6.8% year over year. If we take a look at Medina County, $300 and just about $25,000. That's up 4.8% year over year. Summit County, $205,000. That is up 10.6% year over year. Lorain County, $237,000. That's up 9.9% year over year. And like I said, the inventory levels, they keep increasing. We are not in a balanced market yet. Balanced market is typically around 5 months is what is normally considered balanced. We are approaching 3 months worth of inventory. Granted, we haven't kicked off the real estate season for 2025, so I'm curious to see what is actually going to happen. But as of right now, we are approaching 3 months of inventory, which is great if you're looking to buy. But those home prices, they keep going up. Yes, we've stabilized. There's some areas in Northeast Ohio, and there's even areas throughout the country where there's been mass amounts of a drop in home value or a drop in the pricing. But it's not the case everywhere. Some areas are actually booming right now. It really just depends on the location. Here in Northeast Ohio, some areas have kind of stabilized. Some have come down slightly, but then there also are areas where it's not budging at all. And the overall projection is that we are going to see a possible 5% home value increase by the end of 2025. So right now there's no data that's showing that home values are coming down. It's just going to keep increasing. Now, if we take a look at the mortgage rates, this is current rates as of today. This is constantly changing. 30-year fixed is at a 6.78. You got 15-year fixed, 6.24%. A 30-year jumbo, 7.09. You have your 7/6 ARM at a 6.65. 30-year FHA is at a 6.13. 30-year VA for the veterans, you're at a 6.15. And what this is indicating is absolutely nothing. It keeps bouncing. It's fluctuating. One moment we're at these numbers, the next moment we're up around 7. They're projecting that we're going to be in this range for the foreseeable year. They're saying possibly low 6s by the end of 2025 for those 30-year conventional rates, but we really don't know what's going to happen. It's a matter of multiple factors, but right now they're just not buying the like the bonds, the T-bills that they need to buy in order to lower those mortgage rates, because inflation is not doing what they want it to do. So they're not essentially investing into it to drop those mortgage rates, because when the Fed drops an interest rate, it has nothing to do necessarily with mortgage rates. It depends on other factors. So we're going to be lingering, I believe, high sixes, around 7 for that 30-year fixed conventional. Now, granted, that's with the best credit score. That's with a certain percentage down. Like, there's parameters to hit that actual interest rate. And yes, there's buy down that are in place. There's other incentives that are in place. But these mortgage rates, they're going to be lingering. And if the home prices start increasing, especially as we hit into peak real estate season with April coming, May, June, July, if it ends up being like not essentially a feeding frenzy like 2021, but if a lot of buyers come back in, you're going to have higher home prices, you're going to have higher interest rates, which in turn, you're going to end up paying more, because we cannot predict the future. Now let's talk about the affordability of, buying and renting right now. And I get it. Some of you have to rent. There's nothing you could do about it. But if you were to look at the graphs, the net worth of someone who rents compared to someone who owns a home, it is night and day. It's not even close because of the amount of equity that you end up getting with these homes. But if we take a look here for Ohio real estate market, this is all just what to expect in 2025. You have the current median home sale price, $247,200, stable and rising steadily at 11% year over year. That's for the whole state of Ohio. You have home spend only 45 days on the market. That's the average for Ohio. Again, in this area of Northeast Ohio, we're looking at right around that month time frame. As I was saying, there's 2 months for the state of Ohio, but in this Northeast Ohio section, we are approaching 3 months, and there's just there's nothing but growth that is happening. If you are a home buyer right here, homes for sale, 37,000, grow at 16.3%. The expected drop in home prices, if there are, depending on where you're at, it can benefit you, but every location is different. Overall, we are seeing a stabilization for the majority of the markets in Northeast Ohio. Now, as we look at the average home price with stuff, again, $247,200. They're expecting it to decrease with the rise in inventory in the later half of 2025. The sale to list price ratio is 100%, a little bit over 100%. But overall, this is for the state. I just want to remind you that this is the state. They're not going and breaking stuff down. The home sales, of course, they're decreasing. It's been happening the past several months. This is taken into account. We just had the slowest months on statistically each year with December and January, and now in February that we're doing this. Rental costs vary statewide, obviously, but the median rent is $1,300. With month over month change is 0. So rent is stabilized, which is a good thing to have. Now, multiple offers on homes. Right here, Shaker Heights has got 81, and that is right in Northeast Ohio. Sandusky, that's not, but they got 63. There's a few homes in Parma that I have just been involved with, and they have multiple offers that are hitting. So that's going to cause essentially a bidding war of what is going to come with multiple offers. I'm curious to see if this is going to be a more common thing in the months to happen, if we're going to see multiple offers hitting on homes throughout the whole area itself. Now, for the homes that sell above list price, on average, 40% of them are selling above list price. In July, it was 30%. So that was like the start of really seeing price drops of what was happening. But there was also the new buyer broker compensation that was coming out. So there was a lot of change that was happening all in this area over summer. currently where we're at, like I said, you know, some homes, there's price reductions that are happening. For the most part, we kind of stabilized is where we are at. And with the season coming up, it really depends on how many of you are going to enter into the market, which is going to determine what the inventory is going to end up being like. Right now, they're expecting you home buyers are going to increase because inventory is going to grow, which is a great thing, which means even if you have to sell, you could end up finding something where in, you know, the years past, there was really nowhere to go. That was the big question. Where am I going to go? The number 2 factor, home prices will continue to rise. They rose steadily in top metros across Ohio, reaching 247,000. Cities like Shaker Heights and Sandusky expect a surge of 66.8% and 79.8% in home prices. So that's exactly what I was talking about. Shaker Heights is right here in Northeast Ohio, and they're expecting it to grow, which that's what I was saying. It's going to go higher. As these home prices go higher, your monthly mortgage is going to raise because these interest rates, unless something crazy happens, they're not coming down. Now, if we take that $247, let's call it $250,000. Again, this is just an average for the median price. If you were to put 20% down with the current interest rates, and you got the best interest rate that you can get with those upper sixes, just to give you an idea, you're looking at about the same amount as rent is. Rent's at that $1,300. That home price is going to be around that $1,300 plus or minus, just like rent's going to be plus or minus $1,300. However, if you can buy, it's something that I highly advise, not because of like, oh, buy a house with me. It's nothing like that. It's because you're building equity and you're gaining net worth at the end of the day, where when you rent, I understand it may be convenient. It might be something that you can only do. You know, there's less maintenance you got to worry about in most cases. But when you rent, you're literally burning your money. You're not getting any type of investment out of it, any type of equity. And if these home prices are going to increase like what I just showed you, and it's going to go up around that 5% mark, you could be looking at an additional possible $20,000 by the end of the year, depending on your house, your location. And then within the next several years, it's projected to be even higher than that, which one of the things that I saw was a $400,000 house is going to be worth like $475,000 within the next few years. So you're gaining all of that equity. Now, as far as the market predictions that are to come, demand pent up, tons of it. There's a lot of demand that is waiting out there. There's a lot of sellers that are like, I'm not giving up my 3% interest rate. And I don't blame them. If they don't have to sell, they're not going to sell right now because they are essentially doubling, a little bit more than doubling what their mortgage payment is. If we take a look at what we are seeing from the experts themselves, Ohio's housing market is showing strong momentum to start the year, with increased sales and rising home values reflecting continued confidence in our state's real estate sector. The 0.8% uptick in sales and 7.6% rise in average prices demonstrates a resilient market that remains attractive to buyers and sellers alike. This is from Ohio Realtor's president. Now, you got around the state, there's 13 to 14 markets that experienced an increase in average sale price for the month compared to January of 2024. Now, as far as what JP Morgan is talking about, this is going to be a little bit more on a national level. Now, their research expects housing prices to rise by 3% overall in 2025. That's what the models have been saying, is 3 to 5%. So there's a potential for it to go up 5%. The higher for longer interest rate backdrops is here to stay, with mortgage rates expected to ease slightly to 6.7 by the year end. We're already kind of sitting around there. However, you know, again, this is back from February 10th. However, it's been fluctuating left and right. And And of course, depending on what happens, there could be implications for the housing market like supplies, things of that which a lot of builders are already projecting and have raised prices due to lumber going up. Now, the U.S. housing market is likely to remain largely frozen in 2025. Some growth is still expected, but at a very subdued pace of 3% or less. Demand, often understood through existing home sales, remains exceptionally low. There is demand out there. The amount of demand out there is pent up. By pent up, I mean there's tons of people that want to buy a house. They just can't. Or they don't want to get out of their lower interest rate if they end up owning a house. And as you see in the graph here, these are existing home sales and inventory of what we are seeing. And this is national average. This is not Ohio. Like I said, Ohio, we are creeping up. Northeast Ohio is getting close to 3 months on average, which is fantastic for us. We are just a couple months away from being in a mostly considered balanced market. And then as we see here, existing homes for sale have reverted to more normalized levels across several key metropolitan statistical areas, and new homes have become fairly plentiful. And in our area, new homes are actually exceeding the demand compared to existing, because let's face it, builders are given a ton of incentives right now. And if you could buy a brand new home and get it for the same price, if not less, than an existing home, why not at that point? And then as you see here, new homes for sale are at 481,000, highest level since 2007, and speculative homes are for sale are at 385,000, the highest since 2008. Now a couple of the big questions to answer next. First off, why waiting could be a big mistake. As I showed you, home values, they're projected to increase. $250,000 house this time of year might cost $275,000 next year, according to the percentage of increase on those homes. Interest rates, they're not really going anywhere. So you're going to end up increasing that mortgage rate, potentially by $100, $200. Some instances, it might even be more. It really just depends on what happens with the market that is coming up. And then there's also other factors that go into place with just the overall economy of things. And I get it. I'm sure you've always heard, oh, you got to buy now, got to buy now. There's a reason for it. The best way to put it is if you do a sine graph and we're going up. Let me know when we hit the absolute top. Too late. It's already coming back down. That's what we miss. Those absolute highest and the absolute lowest in real estate happen so quick, they're gone in a blink of an eye. And we really don't know what's going to happen. We can't predict the future by any means. So what it really boils down to is your situation. If you have the money to do so, if you're not going to be financially strapped or house poor, if you have the means, if you have the need to buy right now, then I would say go ahead and buy. If you don't have the credit score, you don't have the down payment, you're going to make yourself house poor, and you're kind of pushing the issue instead of sitting back and just saving up, I would advise you to just sit back and save up. I know you may want to buy right now, and that might not be something you want to hear, but you don't want to make yourself house poor. And the home prices, they're not going to come crashing down. There's no data that's showing that there's a huge crash that's coming. So there's people that have been waiting since 2019, 2020 for a huge crash to happen, and it just hasn't been here. And now home prices are through the roof, and those same people regret not purchasing back in 2019 and 2020. So you can't just sit on the market. It's if you are financially able and ready, do it. If not, save up. Do not force this issue, which leads to the question, should you buy now or should you wait? That is an answer that only you can come up with. I cannot. All I could do is advise you, be a resource for you, And if you need that, I have people just like you reaching out to me every single week. Contact me here or use one of the methods I have listed in the description below. And also, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the market and what you plan on doing. If you got any value from the video, smash the like button. It's greatly appreciated. And if you haven't already, click subscribe, turn notifications on so you can stay up to date on my future videos I got coming your way.